let's jump in to the charts, and we'll begin with a lifetime high. The diamond had been lagging a while. It took care of that the past 3 days. As of Tuesday night, it looked like the same old sad sack has been, and then boy, has a Control-Z that situation. We're at lifetime highs. As of today, we went bouncing over the prior peak way back here. And I'm not that shocked, because as I was looking through index charts last night, I did a post on Slope last night pointing out that, most indexes are looking like ready for a breather, but the Indu and the transport, for that matter, look ready to rock. And so it is. It's a big bounce on that, lifetime highs. In contrast to that, and this is something I shorted, and this is my only big ETF position. I shorted it earlier today, EFA. And it's down a little bit, 0.09%. It has respected this gap for months. And even in that respect, it has established a series of lower highs. So this looks tired. And I feel more comfortable shorting things outside the interest zone of the president, because he has every reason to keep things propped up domestically. But I'll go overseas. So this looks reasonable in terms of a bearish bet, so long as that gap isn't violated. I mentioned a couple of bright spots for me today. Here's one of them, TIGR. For some weird reason, I've mentioned this one almost daily recently, and it got zapped nice and hard today. I think just yesterday I included it too, but it had this big topping pattern, and it was sort of, just neatly just sliding down a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. And then today it opened at one point, like pre-market, it was down like 40%. Right now it's down only about 23%. It's really hard to judge like when to get out of these things when you have a happy circumstance like that. I went ahead and got out right from the get-go. I just closed it straight away, took my profits, and good thing too, because it's been rallying. If we can get back to this gap, yay, I'll get back in again. But that one worked out really well. So thank you, TIGR. I wasn't in this one, but a company which is, I think they're related, or one owns the other or something like that, but they're very similarly situated, is Futu. FUTU, Futu Holdings, down even more, percentage-wise, about 26%. Kind of the same situation, kind of a sloppy top, a penetration into that top to some degree, and then the slide began. But I wasn't in that, as I said. I took my profits with TIGR, so that helped, because I was getting stopped out left, right, and sideways. Otherwise, got it stopped out of a lot of stuff. And I decided I'm not getting back into any. I'm going to keep it safe. I'm just 21 positions, about 80% commitment level, and as I said, no big ETFs except for EFA. Because I was feeling great Tuesday night. Past 3 days, there's been, a little more diminishment in my bearish verve. So I made it light, I'm keeping it light, and not monkeying around with this long weekend. Weirdly, even with all this tech strength and the NQ's up triple digits again, and a lot of semiconductor stocks are up, the king, the biggest company on the planet, the head of semiconductor universe, Nvidia, stinks. It's down again. It is nowhere near lifetime highs like so many of its compatriots. It actually peaked last week before earnings even came out. Not very impressive. It's been slipping, as you can see, and it's not that far until we can actually get back into that zone that it had been in, which would be pretty grim news. It took a lot of time and a lot of strength to burst out of this. If it just goes lumbering back into that zone, it's going to find itself, in parole again, or fully incarcerated. So it just strikes me as peculiar that it would be that weak and the other semiconductors are shrugging their shoulders and just happily moving higher. Take ARM, for example, ARM. ARM is up to a lifetime high and 2% plus gain. And it's just, it's up about 200% since February. Not a bad move for ARM. Micron is off a little bit. It violated its gap ever so slightly here, just a little bit. I got out, but that's what stops are for. Got stopped out of that one, but this is not bullish looking because it's retreated from the gap again, and it's very lofty, as all semiconductors are. But I have no position in this anymore, sadly. But it is down. It is down on this otherwise very green day. So that's Micron, MU. AMD also got stopped out of this one. This one I don't regret quite so much because it opened strong, and it is still up $17, 3.71%. There's nothing bearish anymore about that chart, and it is just sky high. And remember, this is all with Nvidia stinking up the joint. One outlier in this has only been public about a week, which is Cerebras, CBRS. And I'll have to zoom in like so. In fact, let's change this to a minute bar graph, and let's just look at the whole history here. So this company, maybe that's too much data. Here we go. This company came public last week. As I recall, the initial price was supposed to be like 120. Demand was so fierce they bumped it up to like 180. These are approximations. I don't know if these are to the penny, but it's close. You get the idea. And it opened way above 180 and got up to like I was approaching 400. So I got 386 or something like that. Here, you can see right here, 386. And it's trading at 251 now, a week later. Now, the investment banks did great. The insiders did great. Anybody who got in at the IPO price did great. So in spite of losing a third of its value over the past week, there's a lot of people who are doing just fine. Thank you very much for asking. The ones not doing so great are basically retail. The following sentence is a sentence that you can't say about hardly anything these days. Everyone who ever bought any of the stock has a loss. Everybody. No matter what price. Everybody who bought this stock in the open markets is looking at a loss. And one has to wonder, when SpaceX goes out, when OpenAI and Anthropic go out, is it going to look anything like this? Because there's going to be a lot of heat around it, just like Cerebras when it comes out. But Cerebras is like a gnat compared to the likes of SpaceX. Just saying. I want SpaceX to do great, don't get me wrong. For reasons I won't go into, I want it to do wonderfully well. To the moon, great. That's great. I want that. But as a chartist and as a market historian, I kind of wonder what fate is in store for that. We'll know soon. SMH, the semiconductors, is at a lifetime high in spite of Nvidia's weakness. Kind of lofty, but I own one put, a September put on this just because. But yeah, it's not much to go on that graph, but it's like, it's not chip and dip. It's chips and ships. Chips and ships are powering everything. Anything with chips, anything with rockets, or anything that can fly at all, like flying cars. Chips and ships are powering everything now. Here's Rocket Lab, lifetime high. Here's AST Space Mobile, breaking its series of lower highs. Here is Intuitive Machines. I don't know if that's a lifetime high, but certainly a high for the year. Here's Planet Labs, lifetime high. The list goes on. And Fly, I don't think Fly does spaceships. I think these are like flying cars or something, or missiles maybe. Something that goes whoosh. 15.3% gain on the day. And not a bad looking chart either on the bullish side. So yeah, and besides chips and ships, blips, I guess, anything with quantum is continuing to thrive because yesterday morning, the government announced a multi-billion-dollar investment in quantum computing, and therefore QUBT is up again 6%, and QBTS is up again about 10%. So they've had a great couple of days. So I mentioned TIGR being one bright point for me today. The other one is our good friend Bitcoin. Bitcoin's down almost 2%, which on a day like this is like a crash. And it's looking pretty good for my bearish play here because this is, in nominal terms, my biggest position. And it's context. The fact that it can behave like this on a day that's otherwise asset gaga is a good thing. What's the next step? We have to break this level here. We've got to break this level right there to really get things rocking. This is progress that we're going to look like we're closing the week's lows. That's a good thing, but we got to break this next. So keep going, Bitcoin. MSTR, Michael Saylor's strategy company, likewise is also down because it's basically a Bitcoin holding company, a little more. It's off about 3%. And then IBIT, which I also have a position on, but not as big. This is looking good too, and I've got my stop set right there. Anything above that price, I'll scurry out. Running out of time as usual. Let's just bang through real quick. Halliburton, down again. That's a short for me. RCL, Royal Caribbean, also short, down 1.36%. And this one, ADMA, this is ADMA Biologics. I'm continuing to hold this one too. After this nice tumble, it's continued to sort of jig lower here. So this is down about 3%. So yay. And LEN is actually up a little today. I've got January puts on this, I think. But I think if once bonds start weakening in a meaningful way, this will feel the heat as well. I'm out of time. It's super quick. It seems to me that ZB has sealed or basically has tagged resistance. What we want to see is a nice down week next week for bonds, which of course won't start till Tuesday. But I think we're done on that. I've added to that meaningfully to that bearish position, and TLT likewise is close enough for me to that gap to for me to think that maybe another nice slash in Bitcoin. Hooray!